you're lucky, you get...
Thank you for joining me, everyone. Charles Moskowitz here, and I'm standing right in front of Faneuil Market, just so you can see that. And behind me is the Quincy Market Building, which is one of the great venerated locations in Boston. Just for the record, Faneuil Market it's been said it's where the American Revolution was fomented, on the second floor when John Adams got together with Samuel Adams, his cousin, and other patriots to talk about the Boston Massacre. And really, this is really the beginning of the occupation of Boston by the British, which was brutal, by the way. The British were hanging people. There was a whole underground network to evade British occupation. Eventually, the British left Boston in what we call Evacuation Day, because George Washington, once he became commander of the Continental Army, he arranged to have the cannons of Ticonderoga dragged into Boston in a very heroic effort. And when the British woke up one morning in March of 1774 or 1775, I think, and saw those cannons sitting on top of Dorchester Heights, they simply decided to leave. They packed up their bags and they left without a shot. It was really the beginning of the American Revolution. I want to talk a little bit about the controversy between the alt-right and more conventional conservatives, and say that I agree with the alt-right in one respect, certainly, and that is that I support free speech. And I think that the conventional conservatives seem to be subtly, perhaps, maybe not so subtly, arguing against free speech in certain areas which they don't find convenient. The issue has been boiling to the surface recently. One of the issues that the more conventional conservatives support is they don't want criticism of the state of Israel. Now, I happen to agree with their positions mostly as someone who is pro-Israel and pro-Zionist, but I don't want to see criticism of Israel banned. I don't think that's the American way. We have a right to criticize the state of Israel. I criticize the state of Israel for different reasons than some of the people on the alt-right who don't have Israel's intentions at heart, frankly, and who probably fall in suit with a large portion of the left wing of the Democratic Party, people like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who are also anti-Israel. But I support all of their right to speak. That's the American way. So for that reason, I agree with them, even though I don't agree with their position. They also are against the idea of banning criticism of gay rights. While I probably don't agree with that either, I think that gay people have the same rights as all Americans. At the same time, I do not support banning criticism of gay rights. We have to have the right to do that in this country without being fearful of breaking the law. And I think the third issue deals with race, I believe, or immigration. There's a move amongst sort of more establishment conservatives not to criticize the influx of illegal aliens. And I think we have to criticize that. That's one of the most important social issues that this country is confronting right now. I would tend to be liberal maybe on immigration. I think we should not be deporting, for example, law-abiding people who have a special waiver. Even though they're here illegally, they're waiting to have their cases adjudicated, and in many cases they have families, and they've been allowed to stay for decades. I do not think it's right to deport them at this time, and I disagree with President Trump's policies in doing so. I think it's a big mistake, and I think it has moral questions. But I think it's okay to discuss the issue, and I generally support a crackdown on illegal aliens generally, and the strengthening of America's ports of entry, including the border with Mexico and other locations. So I think that we need to support free speech in this country. That's the paramount issue for me. Whether we agree with the positions or not, we have to support free speech so we can debate the issues and debate them in the open square with the assumption that the American people are going to be intelligent enough to make up their own minds, and I think that they are. So in that one respect, I agree with the alt-right. I think that they're concerned with free speech. They're on the right side on that issue. More conventional conservatives are joining the left on that in their opposition to free speech, quite frankly, and that's troubling. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Charles Moskowitz here. Have a great afternoon.